Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships with Rico and R'Shaun. We have Rico coming in right now. I'm about to add him to the stream. Hello, hello, sir. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Just getting back from out doing a little furniture shopping and whatnot. And doing the best to get myself together. Apologies for a little bit of a delay, realizing that the time differential here on the island. How you guys been doing?
Myself, doing all right.
Good.
Doing all right. I see I'm having a little bit of a lag, so I do apologize, everybody, if I have a little technical difficulties. My system is not the best, but I want to recognize the people who've popped in. Truth is never favored. Thank you for being here, sir. I'll definitely get in touch with you after this stream. We have Princess K, the young lady who came up a couple of times. Thank you for being here today. I definitely appreciate you stopping by. And we got Bro Clarence. Bro Clarence says, Rico and R'Shaun. What's up, Bro Clarence? Let's Talk the Better Black Life. Please go over and check out his YouTube channel when you guys can. Now, again, my lag is killing me, but hopefully it's not putting everyone else off. But thank you everyone for being here. And Rico, it looks like he needed to step away for a quick moment. What we're going to talk about today, guys, because a lot of times in this space, what I've seen, and I keep seeing, especially if anybody that's tapped into any of the Kevin Samuels, Lapeef groups, you see a lot of people talking about relationships and marriage. Sherelle put it beautifully earlier in one of the posts she put up, talking about if people really wanted marriage, they could have it. I'm not sure why we're having so much miscommunication online about everything, but we wanted to talk today about communication issues. So this was something I found that I had written several years ago, and it was, I don't know, you guys know, if you've been here, I'm a little corny, I'm a little cheesy. So it was how to navigate the galaxy, or at least a conversation with a lot of gravity. So that's why you see the space themes everywhere. So I'm going to go over that. We're going to go over several points from that to see if we can maybe get to the bottom of some of the miscommunications that we're having out here in these spaces and in real life. And we got What Now 23G saying, R&R, what's up, y'all? What is up, sir? Thank you for being here and pulling up to the stream. Definitely appreciate you. And Princess K, if you didn't notice the lag, oh, thank you, because it is killing me on my screen. Oh, it's eating me alive. So hard to pay attention. But to jump right into it. Alright, guys, you know the name of the channel. It's Knowledge and Relationships. Oh, real quick. OG Patrice. Greetings and salutations. Love you lots. Thank you for being here. Knowledge and Relationships is the channel. So what we're here today is to talk about that. Just knowledge and how to foster better relationships. So that's going to be the communication piece that we talk about today. And we're going to talk about, not about the other person. Like, if anybody that's heard me talk, I talk a lot about the self-development. So what should be going on inside of yourself before you even say something to another person, and how to respond when communication does go off the rails or not as expected. Really quickly, Partly Cloudy 420, R'Shaun and Rico, salute to you. Definitely go out and check out the Partly Cloudy 420 channel here on YouTube. And What Now, the Peef group is purely for trolling and memes for me. Hey, I hear that, but I mean, some people, unfortunately, and that's the thing with YouTube, with Facebook, with Twitter. Yes, a lot of us use it as an outlet or for entertainment, but there are a lot of people that take it seriously and take to heart, and they get their hopes or their doubts based on what they see. That algorithm feeds their own brain. It doesn't just stay entertainment for them. That's the same argument people have put towards rap music, towards movies, towards rock and roll before. Some people don't have the capacity to filter that stuff out, and then they take it as gospel. It informs the way they think. So I know a lot of us use it as an outlet for creative joking, trolling, just passing the time, but some people really take that stuff to heart and inform their decisions based on what they see online. We've seen several content creators even talk about it. The Up Level Professional talked about her coming into the red pill space, and she started to believe some of the things she heard. So I mean, even well-informed, educated men and women can fall victim to listening. You know, the Bible even says it, even if you're not biblical. It's a truism that faith comes by hearing. Belief comes through the repetitive hearing. Like, it's indoctrination, as another word for it. So we all believe in the same principle in a different form or another. Indoctrination, programming, faith comes through hearing. Like, all of it is through repetitious. Cognitive ease is a psychological term for it. So it is a true principle. I don't know what label you may use for it. But Rico, what do you think about that? And real quick, Dominique Anthony, salute my guy. Love that you are here. Thank you for being in the chat. Rico, go ahead, pop off real quick.
Well, you know, I think, like you said, you know, the way you broke everything down, R'Shaun, is eloquent and on spot, like always. You know, you start with, like you said, information that people are taking in from some of these other content creators. And that's where that kind of goes back to one of our earlier streams about being responsible for what you say and the message that you put out, because unfortunately, you don't know, you know, content creators will do the whole chew the meat, spit out the bones, but not realizing that everybody don't have the ability or the capability to do that, to take the good and dismiss the bad. So when you're communicating, that's why I always, you know, we talk about it time and time again. Yes, there is a huge responsibility on the receiver of the information, but for me, there's a greater responsibility on the giver of the information, because only I would know the message I'm trying to impart. So I could be trying to tell you something. I'm the definitive authority on that message and that information and what it is for and what its purpose is for and how it should be used. So I have a huge responsibility to provide unambiguous clarity in that message. You know, we like to talk about things like the Bible. And, you know, yes, all different sorts of people go out and they take passages from the Bible and make it fit whatever they want. However, the pastor has a responsibility to be clear and unambiguous in the message that he's preaching. So with communication, for me, what I find one of the greatest things that's problematic, and I think is the one thing that I think you and I talked about when we first started this channel, and I've always pushed for, is the ability to say where we may have been wrong, where we may have gotten off topic, or to even just flat out and apologize and self-correct. You know, that we'll never be above that. And I think that sometimes content creators will communicate one way, see their message got taken sideways, and will just leave it out there because they can't create the space to say, hey, I misspoke, you know, I spoke out of turn. You know, there's this refusal to self-correct or modulate. And I think that that's a huge communication issue in the content space, in relationships. If you can't back up, if you can't back up and say, hey, I might have misspoke, maybe I got out over my skis. It happens every day. We talked about it before where we said, you know, people like to say the tone doesn't matter. You know, don't worry about, you know, the messenger, worry about the message. And you know, you and I have talked about it. I'm like, no, the delivery and the tone matters. Governments keep from, we're hopefully about to avoid a war right now between Russia and Ukraine through diplomacy. And we want them to continue to talk. But hell yes, tone matters, delivery matters, timing matters. Somebody's going to have to say, hey, I'm sorry. And somebody's going to have to, if we're going to avert a lot of people unnecessarily being harmed, homeless, and killed. And that's just basic communication across the board. So, you know, I think as adults, we should know, we're not kids. We should know better. It's kind of a shame that we still are having to talk about this stuff at this late stage in life.
I think it's important though, because what I've noticed, this is the way I think about it. We start to do so many things. We get more advanced in life. We start to lose the basics. You know, we start to lose our grounding in the fundamentals. So sometimes, you know, like you always had that term, you get so far out, you have to go back to basics, because you'll become so nuanced and so abstract because you're layering all these concepts as you grow in life. All of a sudden, you forget the basics, like, hello, how are you? I'm a person, you're a person. The very fundamentals, like, you know, you do unto others as you would want done unto you. And that goes with our verbal and written communication just the same. So I think a lot of times we get a little too complicated. Real quick, I'm going to shout out 2 people. We have a couple, more than one, forgive me. Hanifa Naila. Oh, sister, thank you for being here. You know, we love you. Jay Takashi, who we are about to bring up right now. Jay Takashi, how are you, sir?
How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How you feeling today,
sir?
I got off work. I said I'm just having a break period from working out yesterday, so healing and then going back to it tomorrow. But this is one of the topics that you guys have talked about that I do want to. I've contributed a lot when it comes to communication. I've talked about it a lot, and I do want to contribute a couple of new things that I've said. You know, just so I can bring some flavor to the stream. Because, you know, we already got my man Rico, we got you, R'Shaun, here, so y'all already make it great. I'm gonna add what little I can contribute to you guys.
All right, real quick. Let me shout out Red Lipstick Vibes. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for being here, Red Lipstick Vibes. Please, she is chopping up her live stream, so even if you don't have a couple of hours to commit the streams, please reward her energy and dedication. She is chopping up the streams in the bite-sized pieces. 3, 7, 20 minutes. So please go and check out the content she's putting out. High production value, great intros. I wish I had as much skill as she did. So please spend the time to go over to Red Lipstick Vibes. Various conversations. So it's not just one topic. Please, please, please take the time to join her Facebook group and watch her on YouTube. Then we have Mrs. M3K Marion in the chat. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you so much and everything you and your crew do. Over the top. This is about to be over the top. Let's go, Colette. We see you out here. It says, oh, snap. We got the Dons on the panel. R'Shaun, Dave, and Rico Young. So much love to you. Thank you. All right, everybody. Got shout-outs. All right. And please forgive me. If while I'm talking, I forget to get to the chat, please, I will get to it when other people are speaking. I don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring you. Please forgive me. All right, so what we're going to jump into with the communication piece. The very first thing I think everybody needs to understand when you are trying to communicate with anybody is, what is the mission? So what is the intent? The first thing you need to determine, it seems pretty clear, pretty self-evident, but a lot of people really don't think about it. Identify who you are, first of all, because a lot of people even have trouble knowing who they are and what they represent. You know, their identity might be wrapped up in what they do, what they have. Sometimes that becomes the barrier. For instance, if you think someone says something about you being a mother, and that's how you identify, you think you're a mother, you'll have more heat. You'll have more of a response, an emotional response. If somebody says something about motherhood, it may not have been personal to you, but it just may have been about motherhood. And because you identify with that, you know, it evokes a response, you know, a reaction, I'll say, instead of a response. The same thing with men. You know, somebody says, these men out here, everybody wants to da. I don't even think they like women. And you get in your feelings because you identify with your masculinity. You identify with your heterosexuality as being, instead of just being yourself, you're worried about what some stranger on the internet is saying. And these labels that they throw out there, you get triggered because it steps on your identity. Because you're not identifying as a human being or yourself. You're identifying with these different little labels. And that gets problematic. So identifying who you are is mission critical. You really have to get that under control. What you represent, like what are your standards and your values? You have to have that understood too. What is your point? Like that is very important. We got M3 in the building. Yes, let's go, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, the chat is moving. Sorry guys. The chat moving. You know, what's that? Squirrel. Every time the chat moves, I'm jumping over there. Squirrel. Realistic vibes. But real quick, let me finish this in real quick. So it's important to know who you are and what you represent when you're trying to communicate. And myself, like just for me, what I'm wanting to do here, just so I can couch it in myself. Me being in this space is because I either want to bring information, say something that's interesting, or say something that's informative. Like, it has to be important, interesting, or informative. Otherwise, I don't need to speak. Like, I don't want to just have empty words. I don't want to just throw my opinion on people. I really want it to either be something that's important, like we see it and it's important in people's lives. It has to be interesting or entertaining, or it has to inform you, something, a piece of knowledge that you just didn't know. And if I'm not doing that, man, somebody sit me down, like every single time. But guys, I want you to go ahead and jump in. Jay, since you're the guest, you go ahead and jump in first with, speaking on identity and who you are, and then Rico, you follow up, please.
Oh, no, sorry about that. I said you're talking about my identity in general when you said that.
Oh. Well, just to what I was saying. You can speak on anything, okay. But just as it pertains to communication, how identity plays a role in how you communicate and who you communicate to.
Okay. Well, okay. So it normally plays a role with whenever you're trying to not just introduce yourself to somebody, but also how your manner of where it says communication. Funny, I'm saying it, but it matters to how you translate those things to another person. Otherwise, it can get lost in translation because it might not sync with the other person if you're not clarifying who you are off rip. And I don't mean like an introduction like what I asked just a second ago, because I got what he meant when he told me that. I'm talking about like how you carry yourself. Like that's technically you're introducing yourself through image, but also through communication with how you're speaking, because your literal speaking is what entices a person to want to listen to you, or if they're off-putting from you. So like I said, it's key to everything. The difference is how you go about it. It's how you convey it and also portray it. So, and everybody, I said portray, not betray, portray. So don't get lost in translation there. But that it plays a huge role in things. So I know some people who can not really communicate very well as opposed to when they're trying to speak about who they are as their identity. Their actual self being projected out to you when you're trying to make casual conversation. So it's also, like I said, you got to understand to really, I have to say it, sell yourself in order to know that you're able to communicate very well with them. You can't slack off, as what I'm sorry guys, I'm getting tongue tied a little bit. the key word in this is not scaling, but it's more so of how you're ranking your own self in terms of your introductions with people. And if you can't convey that very well, then like I said, most people don't probably want to have a conversation with you because of that. Because, you know, like I said, your identity is key, and how you portray yourself to the world, well, to that person, is how you might portray yourself to the world. I think that's a better way of saying it. But that's all from me, R'Shaun.
Nah, definitely. That's a good way of saying it, and I'm glad you said what you said. I mean, because who you are is not just for yourself. Like, it does, you do project into the world from your identity, and that's why I say it's important to know who you identify as, because that's what you, like you said, who you are is what you're going to show up as. So when you do show up and you're in a conversation with a well-meaning person or just a random stranger, who you are, it comes out of you. So I mean, every philosophy I've ever read talks about that. Again, I lean on the Bible a lot. But you know, it's not what goes in, but what comes forth from the mouth that defiles the man. What they're talking about is not what you consume, but it's about what projects out of you. That's what makes you like good or bad. You know, it's how you come across. People talk about it in just standard practice. How you treat the people that are unimportant to you. You know, how you'll treat the janitor, the waiter, the server. That all comes from your character, and it projects out. So how you identify, am I a decent and good human being? Or am I just am I a jerk? You know, however you identify, whatever traits you cling on to and accept for yourself, that's going to come out to the next person. But I want to go ahead and let Rico flow, sir.
Yeah, let me echo R'Shaun's words, Jay. That was an excellent breakdown on the way you explained it. And actually, it got me to thinking a little bit, you know. So every time you come on, it's like, yeah, I think I'm the wise old man, but I'm still picking up gems all the time from young guys like you, that because they're just thoughtful, you know, just a thoughtful person. And I know for me, primarily my identity is obviously because of my age, mostly as a father at this point. So I identify, that's my tribe, you know, if anything else. And then I also identify as a Black man. I don't try to lean into it too much. I just try to, that's also my tribe, because I know that, you know, in the way that the world is today, there are certain dynamics that we have to deal with being of that tribe. So those are the main two. I lean into just try to be a decent human being to humanity. But one thing I did want to bring into the conversation, since we're talking about communication too, was I've learned, and I try to stress to my sons in particular, that you have to learn how to be, you know, we talk about people being bilingual in languages. We also learned how to be bilingual in communication, meaning you can't communicate to everybody the same way. You have to learn how some people you can be direct, stern, and firm. You have to communicate with women differently than you do with men, adults differently with children. I can't, you know, I can yell and scream at you. I shouldn't be yelling and screaming. Sorry, that's my neighbor's dog barking. Screaming at children. So how you communicate with adults should be different than children. How you communicate with men. And it doesn't mean that any way is a bad way. They're just different forms of communication. It matters to the person that's receiving it. It even matters to me the way that, you know, I don't think a woman needs to bow down. She can talk to me direct, but I still demand to be spoken to a certain type of way. So it's reasonable to me that people would demand that I speak to them a certain kind of way. So that's what I think we do too much as human. We demand that people talk to us the way that we want to receive it, but then find it to be so difficult to talk to people the way they want to be spoken to. And I think that we need to become bilingual, trilingual in communication styles. You know, there are time and places, you know, how I talk to the people that work under me is different, because I take the time to actually talk less stern to people that work for me than people I work for, because they require it. You know, they require, you know, more leadership and guidance. So I just think all that matters. I'm going to step off so these dogs shut up.
Got you, Rico. I definitely want to shout out to Where the Rabbit Hole Ends to show their message really quick. Where the Rabbit Hole, shout out to my man, Knowledge and Relationships. Smash that like button. You already know. And Dominique. You can't communicate with someone's dog the way you can your own. Dominique always with the hidden wisdom, you know, the esoteric knowledge. Dominique K, as he's known in the streets. M3, even dogs want to get clout too at Princess K. Question from the chat. If someone misunderstands something I said, who's responsible for the misunderstanding, the speaker or the listener? I will let you guys go first, and I'll wrap it up. If you know, I'm sure with Jay and Rico, you guys will step on every point I might think of making. So I'll let you guys. Jay, you go first, and then Rico.
Well, I was gonna let Brother Rico answer first because me and him have been on Brother Clarence's stream before, so we kind of know what he means. Go ahead, Brother Rico. I'll go next.
I think it's a great question. I think it is a combination of both. But always, because of what I said, is as the speaker, it's both persons' fault. But I give it 80 speaker, 20 listener. Because if I don't know, like I say, if you leave out critical details for me for clarity, then how would it be my fault as the listener? You are the speaker. You have 100% of the information. I only have the information as the listener that you give me. So if you leave out context and critical bits of information, it's very reasonable that I may misunderstand and get it wrong. You, as the speaker, there should be no misunderstanding. You said it. How do you misunderstand what you said? I can misunderstood what you said because you left things out that was relevant, and that's more likely to happen than it is. If the listener misunderstood, that's just because they're in an emotional state, and I shouldn't even be speaking to somebody when I know they're in an emotional state. So as the speaker, it's not just important on how I speak, giving clarity, giving context, but choosing to speak at the right time, choosing to communicate at the right time. Why am I going to communicate with my wife when we're fighting when I know she's not halfway listening? And say, well, that's her fault. It was the wrong time to even be discussing it. So all of that. So for me, that's why I say it's always going to be 80 speaker or maybe 70 speakers. It's going to skew more to the speaker than the listener. I do understand that the listener does have some responsibility to ask for questions and feedback, but it's no way you can skew it the other way. That's my 2 cents.
What was the percentage you gave?
I prefer, initially I would say 80 speaker, 20 listener. You might can convince me 70-30. I ain't budging no more than that. I ain't going no 60-40. I'm speaker heavy.
Got it. What about you, Jay?
Honestly, after hearing Brother Rico, I changed it up a little bit because I thought about this because this thing happens with politics, and I hate talking about politics. Kanye is the biggest thing of this when it comes to like saying something people just misunderstanding it too, but also not clarifying. So honestly, it can go either way, but honestly, I'm gonna say the speaker. If the speaker cannot literally, this goes for me. If I say something and you misunderstand what I'm saying, then it's up to me. It's up to me to, clarify. All in all, definitely. Now, if I say something like where you could easily understand it, and I broke it down like twice, and you still misunderstand, then that's not on me. I'm gonna be real on that. If I've said it twice and I broke it down to where you can understand it, that ain't on me. And not to come in anybody's hearing, if they have a hearing problem, that's a little bit different. But if you don't and you just in your emotions, then hey, that's just you. There's nothing I can do. Nothing. So you have to be cognizant of what you're saying, but also know how you're gonna project it to other people. Because I know people who you tend to use the projection. I said you got to stop projecting. You're saying what everybody else would do, when in fact it's what you would do. So don't do that. Don't stop projecting. I tell people to do that all the time. Stop projecting. Don't do that. That's not what I would do. That's what you would do. Because we're different people. So sometimes I can get, like I said, I can get lost in translation, as I said earlier. So you always got to be careful of whenever you're trying to project your speech of what you want to say to people. Just make sure that there is context added in there, so there is no breakdown of miscommunication. So once you do that, you're good.
All right, real quick, my answer to the question, bro, Clarence. I agree with Rico. It is like it's heavily slanted toward the speaker. I learned that in a communication class and just through practice. I do believe it. And that thing I put in while Rico was talking, I think applies. Code switching. Switching communication styles. Because that means you have the, like, what that is I know who I'm speaking to. I know who my audience is. So I change the way I message. I change the method of delivery. So the words I use, the tone I use, the body posturing, the method of communication, email, phone call, face-to-face, all of that, even like the vernacular or, you know, formal speech, all of that is like, and just to throw a Bible thing, don't cast your pearls before swine. Like, so there's not even just switching the way you communicate, but knowing who you're communicating to and if you are throwing your words wastefully. Like, you don't talk the same way to an adult that you would a child. Different levels of children, a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 17-year-old, an adult, someone in their 60s, an elder. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, and even if it's an elder, is it your parent or not? I mean, different communication styles. You might use it for, I used to use Rico's first name. You know, I never use my parents or my grandparents. You know, I'm not going to throw their first name on them. You know, I wouldn't be up here like, hey, Margaret. You know, that's my mother's name. But, you know, I wouldn't be up here calling her by her first name. But those are different methods that we use to change the delivery of a communication. Just because who we're talking to, different age, generation. So, yes, code switching, it is important on the speaker. The very little bit of responsibility that I think falls on the listener is, if I didn't understand, am I asking clarifying questions? Am I asking for clarification? I think that's where the responsibility on the listener is. Hey, I didn't understand what you said. Could you repeat that? Or if you go to a different country and you start speaking a different language, I don't speak that language. So, I mean, that's, you know, that's the feedback. Feedback is the listener's responsibility. That's what I would say.
And what I wanted to add, one thing, R'Shaun, was, and this is the thing, and I'll give universal pushback on people who would say that they can't code switch, because I believe we all do, even if it's subconsciously. Because I'll tell you this for a fact, the one thing that I am horrible with, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the worst in the world with it, but everybody does it. It's profanity, just plain old profanity. But I'm like, but I know there are certain places and spaces and people around where all of a sudden I just will not, you know, at work and even certain words, but even certain people, it's like, no, my brain is just whack because I want to keep my fucking job. You know what I'm saying? So it's just certain things. So we all do. People traditionally, I know in particular, you know, as an African American, people would say code switch will be, that's another word for talking white or something of that nature. And that still exists too. You know, ethnic code switching. But I'm like, there's even code switching within ethnicities in how you talk and behave. If you want to be accepted by, you know, you want to talk like I'm cool and I'm down and this, that, and everything else. But then you want to talk proper around a different group of people. And they could be in the same ethnicity. So if I'm with the hood dudes, I ain't going to be going into the hood talking all proper, because then I know that I get looked at as a square, a mark, something of that nature. So I have to code switch from being a street dude to being a corporate dude. And it's not even all profanity. It could just be slang. It could just be, you know, using, you know, more urban vernacular so that we feel more comfortable in that space and people feel more comfortable with me. If I go into that urban area and I'm talking to corporate, them dudes gonna be looking at me side-eye like I'm the police. Okay. And I also can't be going into the corporate world using all that urban language because I'm gonna get left behind. So we do it. We all do it. So anybody that say that they don't, I'm like, in 2022, come on. We have to. You just have, it's a survival mechanism. I'm done.
I got you, Rico. I just want to shout out a few people that popped in. We got the great Chef Shapino. Thank you for stopping by, sir. Definitely appreciate having you here. And and Rico. Yes. We got Simsima RRP. Now, hold on. I got the answer, because you had asked a question last time Simsima was here. Hold on, because they said I want to say real realistic. Yes, real realistic person or real realistic people. That's what the RRP stands for. That's the answer to that question of yours. And I definitely had to highlight this chat message right here. Everybody stop, freeze, pay attention to what's on your screen right now. All right, we don't need to say anything else. Mrs. She Said has spoken the absolute gospel. Thank you for being here, young lady. Appreciate the kind words. Everybody, throw a cash app and throw a super chat to Mrs. She Said for understanding. She's got the keys to the universe right there. R'Shaun, see, she's speaking to my heart right here. See what I'm saying? That's how everybody needs to speak when they come into the chat. R'Shaun, and then a compliment. If you're not here with a compliment, you need to just go on. I'm just messing with y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate all of y'all. I'm just messing. And real quick, I wanted to go back to the identity piece because this is important, and a lot of people denigrate each other for this. Some call it code switching. I call it great acting. What people will say is that you're being fake or inauthentic. But this is where I push back on that. And I was having a conversation with what the funk is this? Even the mask, even the portrayal, even that acting, that's authentic because that's what you are. That's what you're bringing to that space. So if I say like I'm code switching white, a white person can infer if they knew about code switching. I'm just assuming they don't, but let's say they do. Oh, this is what he think whiteness is. Like when we see other people come into black spaces and they say, "Hey, yo, what's up?" Their mask, that persona that they're putting on, that informs us of what they view when they're coming into that space. That's a projection of how they feel blackness is portrayed. So even your mask tells the truth. So don't call people fake and inauthentic because even that portrayal tells the truth about the identity that they hold inside and what they think about you. So I mean, it's very reflective. Communication is very reflective. So please don't throw people, you know, that oh, you're being fake, you're being you know, you're being phony, all that stuff. Like, don't do that because you can learn a lot from people's portrayal, their mask, whatever they use to cover up with. You can still learn from that. Just real quick to go back into the identity piece. Hold up. Uh-oh. It says I got feedback. R'Shaun, you have feedback. Not bad, but noticeable. Let me turn my mic down a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say something because, I mean, I keep hearing the noise. And everybody can see my facial expression because I'm listening. I'm hearing it. I'm like, it can't be me, right?
What about now?
Let's still hear it.
Now?
I still hear it.
What about now?
Yeah, it's still there, but not as loud.
I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Okay, I'm not sure. Not sure what it might be. But real quick, I'm gonna read this piece from what I had written. Are you committed? And it's talking about that face, that mask, the facade. Are you committed to an ideal or of your own determination, or are you stuck playing a role that was placed on you at some point? Now, this is another form of the facade. Hanifa, it's like a internalized facade. You know, like fake it till you make it. Like you're hit, you've lost it, you played a role so long it becomes you. So sometimes the expectations and the roles placed on you as a child through your siblings, through your parents, through your environment, you commit to that role that they told you. Oh, Rico, yeah, that's young Rico. You know, he was the neighborhood bully, and they reinforce that every time you see him. So Rico goes through life feeling like he has to be the bully. He's got to be the biggest, the baddest. So sometimes you'll incorporate a role from outside of yourself and become that. You'll personify it, and you won't learn until you're an adult that you don't even want to be that person. So that part of the identity and communication is important too, because you'll be playing a role that you're not even attempting. Like we said, a facade, you know, code switching, we're wearing a mask or pretending. That's one thing. But sometimes you'll lose yourself in the role that somebody else told you had to play. So sometimes you have to learn as an adult when to step off the stage and become who you truly feel like you need to be. So that's an important piece. Go ahead, Jay, and then Rico, just jump in real quick while I catch up on these chats.
Well, one of the biggest predicators that people need to understand, and I spoke about this when I was on a Women's Sphere live stream just last night, and this pertains to like how you want to craft your image. Sorry about that, guys. I guess I'm mine, but like I said, it pertains to this, and one of the biggest indicators of this was that some lies get so big based on the image that you falsified. It's almost in your benefit to not reveal the lie. And it's like, baby, you got to keep lying. Babe, you gotta keep lying. You just got to keep doing it. And like I said, some lies get so big at that point where you just become a parody of yourself. Like you just in itself. Now I've heard of like people lying to get out of a situation. I mean, that's fine. I'm talking about like when her life is in the line. So I can get that. I can get behind that. That's fine. That's like just your livelihood. I understand, and you're in danger. That's cool. But when it comes to like, me right now, I don't want anybody to get the misconception that like I'm a perfect person. I've never made the claim that I am. I'm going to tell you the truth 100 about me as much as I need to. You don't need to know all my business, but I'll tell you some of the important, I'll tell you the things that you do need to hear. That's what it will be. But other than that, because like I said, because people make a habit of trying to put their whole life on you online when they have no business to do all that. Only show what you want to show. And Rico, when I do say that, I mean literally share what you're comfortable sharing, but make sure it's not the stuff that you and your wife talk about. The private stuff that's between y'all. The same thing I told my brother whenever we have conversations about, like I said, my sister-in-law. And I told him, I said, how's she doing? Oh, she doing all right. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know full-on depth. Whatever goes on is that's y'all two's business. You don't need to know anything else after that. That's how respectful of a brother I am. So, and that's how we operate. He can give me advice on things, but other than that, no, bro, that's your business. But also the image that I'm trying to keep, I'm keeping with him is that I'm the brother that's going to be there. I'll be 100 with you. I will not put on a facade in front of you. I have no hate or ill contempt for you. This is really me, and this is me really caring for you. So, like I said, your identity, it's important. Never, like I said, if you're really truthful to what you hold dear, then you're going to keep that image for the rest of your life until you're old and look like Isaiah Bradley. So you'll be fine. Trust me. Like I said, it's just a matter of you. I guess I would say this: practice that and look in the mirror every day. Practice becoming better every day. You're still you, but the thing is, you're a better version of the you that just woke up yesterday. So you got to understand that. Once you've done that, I'll be honest. I don't see how you fail personally. I don't see how you fail personally if you keep practicing it like that. You're more likely to progress than you are to degress. Now, if you feel like you hit a wall, go back to the roots of what made you start out to what you started out, and then increase upon those cons and make them pros. Like I said, nobody's perfect, and it takes a little bit of a few tries to get it right. But the thing is, like I said, it's just repetition and design. Once you've conformed to that, nothing's gonna break it. And guys, listen, I'll tell you right now, I practice it every day, even on my lousy days, which I don't want to do. I have to push myself to be better. Better than the person you saw the other day. So it goes hand in hand with communication. It goes hand in hand with just trying to like work every day. So people know like Jay's consistent. He stays like this. You know what he's about. So that's all I really have to add to that. Go ahead, my brother Rico.
Hey Rico, real quick, I'm gonna read this last piece for identity, and then you jump in, and then we're gonna move on to the next section. Your values, methods, beliefs, hopes and fears, strengths and weaknesses all interplay and must be considered in the conversation. How do these influence my expectations and experience? This must also be considered for the other party, the person you're speaking to. How much of the turbulence is just from lifting off, and how much is from needing to shed the baggage that helps you get where you are but is no longer useful? In other words, there is natural resistance between two people with different start and end points. Just remember, you can eliminate some of the stuff by identifying what beliefs and expectations you hold that do not pertain to this specific relationship dynamic. All right, Rico, go ahead. And real quick, Hanifa did a live with Sister Kumar and Sister Nzinga, and they spoke a little bit about shedding the baggage from that that you came with, to let go of some of the things that you're holding on to that you think make you but are no longer serving you. So I mean, that's a great live to go check out, Hanifa Naila's channel. But Rico, go ahead and jump in, and then when we come back, we're going to go to the next section.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm glad you used the word expectation because that's what it got me to thinking about. And I look at it like even in the dynamics of a relationship, we always talk about women trying to compete with men trying. And I'm like, I wonder, like, are we forcing people into roles that maybe they don't choose to be, and then they have to live and fulfill? So certain women, we're putting the burden on wifedom, and if that's a proper word, which probably is, but to be a wife and a mother when that's not necessarily of their own choosing. You know what I'm saying? Because they grow up in a world, in a society, feeling like they have to do something because we speak it into them. And, you just spoke about, and I thought about as a parent, things that we do. I know so many people that back home work in career fields. I know so many lawyers that are lawyers because their parents were lawyers, that are doctors because their parents are doctors, because it was expected of them to be, and they're really not happy doing it. They feel like they never had any other choice for fear of letting their parents down, and I put you through all this good school, but that was not their personal heart desire. And I really think a lot, me too, Dominique, a lot of us throughout life, and it's not I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world. It's hard for me to say it is that, but is it really just, and is it fair that, what for a parent, a husband, or whatever, to put for someone, for you, it seems a little unfair to put your aspirations on another and then compel or shame them into being something that you wish, we use the word projection. I never could become a doctor, so I want the best. Who's famous for doing it? I remember doing youth sports. Coaching, youth sports coaching. And if you've ever done youth sports coaching, men or women, those fathers can be if Lord help him, if he was a high school athlete, his son gonna be the next NFL prospect, because there's a lot of projecting. And I seen kids who didn't even want to play football, but I made mine play. But when you start to think about it, we do a lot of projecting, pushing roles on the people, men and women alike, children and adults. And I think that causes a certain level of unhealthiness in them, because the person that you're pushing that on, they will carry a certain level of resentment towards you if that's not what they wanted to do. I've known a lot of doctors that, they're doctors because they wake up at some point, they went through things with their parents, and hell, they're too much in debt. So now it's like, I don't even want to be a doctor, but I got $500,000 in student loans. This is the only thing that's going to help me pay it off. And I wanted to be a painter. And who knows? Might have been the next Van Gogh. Who knows what they would have been? They didn't get to choose. So when I look at it, even in relationships, I see in those relationship spaces, they always talk about, for the community, they wanted to be a wife. I'm like, every woman doesn't want to be a wife. And that's okay. Everybody doesn't want to have children. That's okay. So why are we projecting that? If, I think they had the discussion about Vivica, the actress, like she's 50-something, and they asked her, like, why don't you have any kids? And she was like, I just never found anybody to have kids with. I got lots of nieces and nephews that I love. And I'm like, but fortunately, I like to see people like that who defy the expectations that others put on them and say, I'm going to be what I choose to be, because I think that that's something that each and every one of us as an individual, especially in America, I believe other countries, we give people the space to do that. But in America, we've swung the pendulum so far towards, we're demanding our children to, if they don't be what we want, they must achieve even certain standards of living and certain expectations. So I tell my kids, I don't want you to starve, but I've never been an overly ambitious person. R'Shaun, like I told you, when you talk, I said, I'll take $1 million, but I don't never want to be a millionaire. The reason being, I don't want to do what I have to do to become a millionaire. The loss of time from my family, my loved ones, and my friends are far more important to me than what it is to be wildly successful. So, and that's just a requirement of being a wildly successful individual. You don't get to be wildly successful sitting on your ass, hanging out with your friends, playing video games.
That's true.
But if you become wildly successful, you be prepared to give up 20 years of your life, and you're going to probably lose a lot of family and a lot of friendships because you have to be grinding. Those friendships and values and relationships are more important to me than that damn money. I'll take $1 million if you give it to me, but I'm not going to give up that for it. So that's why I think it's big. We need to start thinking about being careful about expectations, projecting onto people, because it's unfair. It's unfair, and it can be harmful. People do self-delete because they feel like they can never please. It's just crazy. So when we're communicating and we're thinking about that, I look back on it and I even think about maybe some areas where I maybe spoke in a way, not to a wife that I can recall, but especially my kids. And that's why now I tell them, do whatever makes you happy. Don't be a complete, but if that's what makes you happy, you got to be happy with it, not me.
All right, real quick, Rico. I'm going to jump in and say hello to Latia Phillips. Thank you for being here, young lady. Looks like she is Knowledge and Relationships family. Ebony Powers. Ebony Powers says, good topic. Thank you. We definitely appreciate that and want to get to the bottom of some of the communication breakdown. I'm going to go over Dominique's question really quickly. And I'm going to start using the timer. We're going to just put like a 1-minute timer on this one. Where and how do you draw the line with projecting versus discipline? Now, this is my response. With projecting versus discipline, sometimes you're projecting what you want onto the child, like Rico talked about. Your desire for what you want their life to become. That's an internal thing that you have to figure out. Discipline is for the child. You're instilling structure in them. That can be through any mechanism. Would you allow them to get the same discipline through martial arts, or does it have to be football? See, because if it has to be football, if it can't be clarinet, or if it can't be jiu-jitsu, if it can't be ballet, if they can only get it the way you want them to get it, then that's for yourself. That's projection. But if they can get discipline through anything, if they're going into the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, if they're okay getting the discipline from any place where you can get discipline from, then that's what it is. This truly discipline that you care about for the child's sake. But if they can only get it the one way that you see it, that's projection. Because that's coming from yourself. This is what I want. That's how you know if it's what I want, that's projection. Go ahead, Jay. We're going to cue you up.
All right. I'll keep it under a minute. So, the draw the line by projecting is like you're trying to project your own thoughts onto someone. And it's like, it's what you want, it's not what they want. That cut plain and simple. Now, when it comes to discipline, you're disciplining them to have the necessary structure in mind, and also you're tuning them in order to be self-aware and to persevere under certain struggles in life that they'll have. That they have to be prepared for. So that's really the difference between the two of them. But like I said, one makes you sound like you're trying to be a control freak. The other of what you want in that person. The other is being a strict guideline in order for them to have self-discipline. Well, I know discipline is in there, but you're trying to structure them in order to walk the ways of life. All right, that's all I have to say.
First of all, great question, Dominique. I would say for me, the problem with projecting is when you can't accept a loss or a failure. So as R'Shaun, if you say that you're going to do something, and the kids say they don't want to do it or they're not successful at doing it, you can't accept that. That's not an acceptable alternative or solution to whatever a difficulty or a problem is. As far as discipline, and we're not talking discipline, for me is about when me and my kid or me and my significant other, we agree to something that we both want to do. And to me, discipline is instilling that we will continue to go until we accomplish what we wanted to do or you wanted to do. It's helping you to build. It's more about teaching discipline than instilling discipline. That I want you to have the intestinal fortitude to achieve what you want, not what I want. That's what I see to do. But it is a fine line.
Definitely. Real quick, just want to give a shout out to the people who popped into the room. We have the Lady Juana Chica in the building. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Thank you for stopping by. She says hello, everyone. We have the young lady, brilliant lady, the blooming Ebony. She says hi, chatting panel. Hope everyone is blooming well. And then we have the Harris Tribe Media Group. Thank you for stopping by, Harris Tribe. We definitely appreciate you. Peace to the family in chat. All right, real quick, going to read this next section, and I'll let you guys jump in. And which I do like a 3-minute timer on this next section, just so we can flow through some of this stuff. Where are you going? So in the conversation, we talked about who you are. That's how you kind of couch the conversation. Who am I, and what do I represent in this conversation? What needs to spill forth from me? Where are you trying to direct the communication? So, following with the space thing, I'm going to skip some of that. Knowing where you are going changes how you want to operate and what you need to get there. You don't need to make a commitment if you're only looking for a situationship. And you don't want to be overly casual for something you hope is heading towards marriage. Maybe you aren't suited for space travel like me and just want to skim the clouds. Where are you trying to fly? What do you actually want? So the intention. This is what we're talking about, is intentionality. Moving, your method of operation needs to match up your intention. So again, if you want something long-term, you should be long-term oriented in your activity. If you're looking for short-term oriented. You know, if you're looking to go to the grocery store, you don't need to buy an airline ticket. But if you're looking to go to Hawaii, you probably don't need to, gas up gas the tank in the car. So you know what I'm saying? So the way you move differently depending on what your outcome is. So guys, go ahead and speak on that. Outcomes and intentions in communication. Jay first. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Oh man. So you say communications, outcome, and intent?
Yeah, just flow on like where. I'm gonna start the timer over. Like, because what we're saying is, when you're trying to communicate to somebody, it's important to know, for you inside of yourself, to know what your intent is. Where are you trying to go with the conversation? Are you trying to persuade? Are you trying to inform? What's the destination of the conversation or communication? Are you trying to, everything along that line matters. It's like we talk about in these spaces, people's tone. Oh, are they talking too strong? Oh, they need tough love. Well, who you're talking to, it matters how you convey your message. But how you convey your message depends on what you want the outcome of the message to be. So if you want someone to actually persuade to do something differently, you'll probably get more traction with honey than vinegar, as they say.
Okay, start a timer for me then. Okay, so my intention whenever I'm trying to speak to someone, or at least when I'm speaking on my particular channel, I am literally trying to give you guys information and also clarity of my experience, but the intention of that overall is for you to take what we have said, what was said here, think it over and let it marinate. Excuse me. Now, when it comes to I'm gonna do communication last. When it comes to outcome, the outcome is, like I said, what you take from it. And also what happens now, what do you do with it afterwards? Because I think you need to spend, besides I said marinate for the one, I'm talking about actually reflecting. We're spending days reflecting on what was said and how, and what do you plan? How's that going to help you? How will it help you think about some things in your life that you didn't think about before? Or can it contribute anything to your current situation? So that's the outcome right there. Like, it maybe you might see things in a different way than when you did before. Because my whole thing was like your perception. I like to hear different people's perception, and I'm always under the indication that I might be wrong about something. So that's why somebody's other perception / perspective can always be different from another person. So that's the main key factor for that outcome. Because, like I said, because everybody's perspective is different from everyone else's. Now, when it comes to communication, whenever I'm communicating, literally talking to you, the intent, the full-on intent / outcome, because I'm gonna use both of those in conjunction together, is that you literally hear what we are saying. I don't want you to think that it comes off as bias. I don't want you to think that it comes off as like this is all about him. No. This is all for you to take in. This is all for you to learn something from. I am not trying to teach you like you guys are children. I need you to hear every person's different perspective from me. Because my way is not neither right nor concrete. It may not be. I preach this 1,000 times. It may not be. Now, granted, but doesn't mean there are some aspects of what I'm saying that you can't resonate with. Or what my man Marcus, what my man R'Shaun, what my man Rico says. So when I'm communicating with you, know that it comes from a place of actual, like, I care about you. I care about your perspective if you're going through something, and maybe my words can actually have an influence on you or anyone in the panels, because we can all relate in that sense. But that's all.
Appreciate that. And we want to give a shout out to our brother Marcus Rodriguez in the chat. Hey brother, thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you. Rico, we're going to go ahead and start the clock. You can drop in if you choose, sir.
Hey, great. This question is it's a lot of layers to it, a lot of places. So I think about, like you said, when you think about the end result, the intentionality. So you think about it, like I know, like pastors convey messages because they're trying to save your soul. So there's a definite intentionality there, and they're preaching and pushing a hard message, not viciously hard, but they're very invested in your salvation. That's their job. So every Saturday, every Sunday and every other day that they get together, they're not just out there talking just to be talking. Then you take people who are like, say, for example, a therapist who's conversational. They're there to help you help yourself. They're invested in you, but they're not more invested in you than you should be invested in yourself. You have friends. So you have all these different people, friends who convey message. So I'm your friend. I'll tell you what I think, but I'm not going to beat myself up or you up over the message and how well it's received, because you have to take people's belief structure. So when I'm talking to you about something, I know what my belief structure is. If I know yours, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to take it this way. R'Shaun's going to take it another way. So I convey the message in a different way. So you're right. How much emphasis will I put into the message is, if I'm talking to you as a friend, if I don't think it's life threatening, I'm not going to put 50 million conversations into it. Now, if I'm talking to you about a health related issue and you're on drugs, again, if it's about you smoking weed, that's one thing. If it's about you shooting heroin, it's going to be a different conversation, because I look at the effects of the different issues that you have being different, coming up to different outcomes. As you said, if it's a relationship, if we just having a casual relationship and I'm just trying to make it a booty call thing, I'm not putting that many phone calls in. If it's like you said, we're talking about trying to go to a space of being married. Okay, I know the dating relationship rules require that I put in far more time, more thoughtful, substantive communication. It requires that I put more listening, because people talk about communicating. I'm like, the biggest part of communicating is listening to the other person, which I am working on very bad, to this day. So I think it does matter what is your intent, but I think your intent in the conversation varies about what the conversation is about and who the conversation is with. So it's not the same, but that's my thoughts on it and all I got.
Definitely. Real quick shout out to Wally, who stepped into the stream. Wally, thank you for being here. We definitely appreciate you, sir, for popping in. And another one, Blaze Brown. Blaze Brown, thank you for blazing in. We definitely appreciate having you here. I'm going to read this next one on the intent section or destination. But what is your why? What is your why? Do you really want what you have been chasing? Are you following social norms? Are you trying to make your parents proud? Are you trying to be like the Joneses, or are you after what improves your life and makes you content? Why do you want to be where you intend to go? Why are you going to the specific destination? So not only setting your destination, you have to examine, why do you want to be there? Again, it's kind of related to the identity piece. You need to identify why that is your actual destination. Are you going because it's just a place to be? Are you going because there's some actual benefit for you inhabiting that space? So I mean, that's something to consider. Jay, just real quick, we can just hit that and move on to the next session. What's your thoughts on that? Why do we the why of communication? Where are we going with the communication?
Okay. For communication itself, okay. So because what you described was really good, like the reason for why I am doing it. So one of the reasons why I do want to in terms of communication with other people, my ability is literally the reason. Sorry guys, I'm getting tongue tied. I'm sorry. I really want to do what I do in order to network with people, in order to communicate, in order to connect with someone. And the thing is, I love socializing. I love talking to my OG cats. I love learning from them, and also sharing. They share their points with me, and I share my points with them. But but my communication is a way of me humbling myself to learn from others, not me simply just giving you advice and you taking it. My reasoning for doing it, yes, it is mostly for the parent thing that you said that too, but also how I was abrupt. Hard to pronounce that word, guys. Sorry. Abrupt. Abrupt. God damn, I'm talking about my words today, guys. I'm really sorry. But no. But all in all, like I said, your upbringing, how it helped sculpt you to be this person who's able to speak, very fluently, but also able to convey it to other people without the intent of trying to project something onto them. You need to always come in with an open mind. You need to always be able to listen and hear, and just shut your brain off to hear what someone says. But my reason for doing it is just to get to know other people. Socializing is key, and without socializing, you're pretty much, well, I would say you're a fragment of yourself if you can't socialize with anyone. But I think the primary strive should be for you to always strive for the best and also be able to communicate well so people can get you. That is all.
Go ahead and jump in, Rico.
Okay, well, and this is good too, because I think for me, what should be a big emphasis on the why is because it's not always about you speaking, it's about you listening and getting other people to open up. So if I don't communicate with people, people won't communicate with me. So I can't get people to talk to me if I don't first talk to them. That's just human nature. There are a lot of people in this world that are naturally introverted. I lean a little bit more extroverted, but I used to, and it's funny because when I was younger, I was more introverted and I sort of grew out of it. And some people maybe were extroverted and they become, so you change, your relationship, but thank God we're not all one or the other, because we would be a mess. We're a mess trying to communicate, but if we weren't the both, so it requires an extrovert to communicate with an introvert to open up. It requires an introvert to have extroverts calm down somewhat. And the main purpose of communicating is to get people to open up to you so that we can share the wealth of knowledge, experiences, and so on and so forth. Because through communicating, I've learned so much more, but that's only that I've learned an immeasurable amount of information from you, R'Shaun. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, you were bit more of an introvert, but like I said, we can communicate well together. That wouldn't happen if somebody didn't open their mouth first. So I implore people to continue to communicate. It helps to minimize the levels of misunderstanding that will naturally occur anyway. But the more we talk, the fewer misunderstandings can occur. The lesser we talk, the greater misunderstandings happen. So it will never be at 100%, but communicate, and it will be better.
Definitely appreciate that, Rico and Jay. I know the why is important, folks. And just to couch this in something we hear a lot, these online, offline communications about marriage. Online, offline communications about marriage and in a relationship. A lot of people are looking for a relationship and how they communicate it. They don't also communicate their why, like why they want to be married. And sometimes the unspoken piece is the man might be looking to be married because he wants continued access to sex. And maybe it honestly really doesn't care which person fills that role, but that's what it is. And sometimes a lot of the popular talking point is the women want the wedding and not the marriage. So, sometimes communicating your why is important because you need to suss that out for yourself. Why do I want the thing I'm chasing after? That's very important to identify because you may not even want what you believe you want. A lot of us have been feeding ourselves a narrative or a story for so long in our life that we don't even think to evaluate it. I was watching this TV show and they said, real quick, I didn't even put my timer on. I was watching this TV show and they said something about don't think you know everything you know. Like, examine your own thoughts. Examine your own beliefs from time to time. Not every day. You don't want to live in your head like I do, but from time to time you need to evaluate and reorient. Like, if you're chasing a goal, like it's standard practice in business, you estimate how far have we come, how far do we have to go, is this still the direction that we need to travel? So that's something you need to evaluate from time to time, your why. We're going to move on to a piece about miscommunication. Oh no, we got Mr. Prenup in the building himself, Mr. Rucker. He said prenup first. We don't even need to communicate until we got that prenup on the table. That's what Mr. Rucker says. All right, real quick. We're going to talk about now, once you've already gotten to a communication and you've already had disagreements, these are going to be principles or guidelines and how to navigate that. So, when you and another person are becoming argumentative, insulting, or aggressive, and this applies online too, it's a good idea to take a time out. Have a plan in place so you or the person can call for a break when needed. Be sure that you don't let it fester. It isn't a good idea to leave these issues unaddressed, but have a plan for if it's too much and a plan to reconvene and come back to it. So that's an important thing that a lot of us don't do. We don't take time. Make sure you are in the proper environment and state of mind to have a conversation. Be considerate enough to ask the other person for the same. Is this a good time for us to talk about this specific subject? You don't want to ambush people. You don't want to be at work, a social gathering, a public place when you have a passionate conversation. Definitely don't want to be on these panels to bring up something personal. So going back to the space, I'm going to leave it. I'm trying to cut through the space team. The heavier conversations, the heavier the conversation, the longer the time you will need it to address the situation. We won't be able to have instant fixes. So don't feel the need to jump on every conversation immediately, because some things do need time to breathe and people need time to reflect, consider their own thoughts and opinions before they can come to you with a calm manner and discuss points of difference. What do you guys think on that? Let's get a 3-minute timer. Go ahead, Rico. Let's jump you in first.
Well, I didn't get all of it, but I'm going to pick up. At one point I did want to bring it. Point of contention is, I know oftentimes when people are communicating, part of the problem that they have is everybody's always looking for a win. And the biggest win in communicating is giving the other person an off ramp or give them a win in the communicating. You know, you can't go into every, it's not like fighting physically, you know, especially when you're talking about your significant other or even in your children. You got to let people feel like that, that they say it's the art of politics. And I know I'm not saying it right. It's like the most successful politician is. And when you're negotiating, you make every party get up from the table, walking away feeling like they won. You don't ever want anybody to feel like they lost, because it just makes the communication, it gets worse from there. So I try to do that when I'm communicating with my wife. It's like, be careful about how you talk down to them, to be curt with them and things like that. And that's where too many times people get into that space, even with your friends. I know as men, we get a little bit, and I even tell my son, I know we get a little caught up with the little crass language with each other, but for real, everybody not always feeling that. And when you always, trying to emasculate your buddy in a joking manner, that's how we get skewed, because then they get fed up. You got to if you're great at what we used to call it, doing the playing the dozens, right? Don't be so damn good at it all the time. Take a few L's to maintain your friendship. Because and I'm pretty good at the dozen, but if you roasting my ass every day, that friendship going to quickly deteriorate, because I'm just going to get tired of you. Better let me get a few in there. You know what I'm saying? You just have to do that for your friend, because, like, man, because I'm sick of this, that's what happens. So that's the art of an effective communicator. When you negotiate, even though you're winning, you have to let the other side feel like they're winning too. Don't make them walk away as a loser. And if they get boxed into a corner and people are set in it, give them an off ramp. Give them a place to say, hey, where they can give in without, emasculating themselves or committing, Harry cutting their own head off or having to commit suicide. Don't make them have to do that, because then you lose too. You never win when you force your opponent to have to do that. You lose too. They used to say, I think in the art of Sun Tzu, you never surround your enemy. You always leave them an escape route. They'll fight to the death if you circle them. Hell no. Just only say you circle them on 3 sides. And that's my 2 cents.
Got you, Rico. Got you, Rico. If you don't mind, Jay, go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna get. There we go.
Yeah, set the clock, brother. There we go. As I told my friends once before, I think they're far too complicated. With so many variables, you never know what can make it all go all right. As for the idea for like of miscommunication, how could I not agree? When there is a big breakdown in miscommunication and points and a bunch of points being missed, then it's just off the rails. Like there is no sense of reasoning, there's no sense of logic, and there's no sense of rationality. Whenever those three things are all out the garden with the communication, then there's no need for a conversation at that point. Like nothing can be fixed. The only time is like, you know, who it's like we're measuring sticks now. Like I said, I can't use the other word because everybody knows what I meant when a stick contest. Everybody knows what that is, you know. So as KS says, you know, put it up, literally, and it's just a matter of you having the fortitude to understand that person, like, they misunderstood you, but also when it's broken down like that, you guys just act like a bunch of kids. And there's, like I said, there's nothing progressive, nothing ever goes forward. But I think as a countermeasure to that, because I won't keep this long, I'll keep it really short. You both need to be able to, I'm gonna say it, you both need to shut up, get out your feelings, and really hear what the person is saying. Because when like I said, when miscommunication comes, people talk past each other, not at each other. I'm going to say that very clear. People talk past each other, not at each other. I've had instances where women try to talk past me, and I'm like, you're not having a conversation with me. I'm so disconnected from you. You're not even talking. There's a difference between miscommunication. You're not even hearing me. You're just hearing yourself talk. So that's when I tune out, and I'm like, all right, you have very poor communication skills, and you lack the ability to speak to other people correctly, to talk at people because you're talking past them. But sorry about that. Yeah, but once that's like established, that, you know, like, oh, okay, once you guys settle down and, you know, get out your feelings and you say, okay, I was wrong, that wasn't right. So, you know, let's start the conversation over neutral. You know, let's start again neutral, and then, you know, let's pick up where we left off and just break down each other's points so we can see what the other is saying. You know, like I said, you gotta shut up and listen to what the other person's saying. Listen to what they're saying, not think of your next point. Hear what they're saying. When R'Shaun speaks, I shut up. When Rico speaks, I shut up because I'm listening and I'm not trying to think of my next point. I'm trying to actually hear. So, you know, like I said, we're better on that, and then everything will be okay.
Real quick, I want to shout out Quantum Love, the metaphysician. Thank you for being here, young lady. You know we definitely love and appreciate you. Man, you guys brought up some great points. I am going to clock myself really quickly, and then when the clock runs out, I'm going to try to bring the next point in. You guys brought up a couple of really great points. Rico, you brought up the let people have an escape route. What I used to say was, we used to say, don't punk somebody, like don't son them. Like, leave me a place where I can still be a man at the end of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me still be a man when we're done with the disagreement. Because that's what a lot of times it's our ego. You know, they're shrinking you because you have to be a victor. Instead of, like, we can both have an outcome that's desirable. And most people most people do not require 50-50 equity when the conversation. I can take a couple of L's, but that last L, I can't take the last one. I can't get knocked all the way down the ladder. I could take a lot of L's, but leave me some breathing room where I can still feel okay about myself when I lay my head on the pillow or look in the mirror. So that's a very important piece. Reciprocity. There is that's the dynamic we're talking about. There's an animal, and I can't remember if it's puppies or wolves or something. When they are play fighting, when they're, you know, grooming themselves as they're aging in their combat, like you said, Rico, the verbal sparring, they will give in and allow the smaller one to win every so often. It's almost like a mathematical, like 1 in 5. There's a percentage of time that us naturally, if we don't get some wins in, like if you're playing against your older brother at basketball or your family at Monopoly, if you don't get some gains or wins every now and then, you're going to lose the desire to play. So it's important to not lose that desire to participate in the relationship because one person has to dominate it all the time. It's a natural thing. It's not just human communication. It happens in animals too. So it's not just a social construct. It's a natural construct that's in us. If we're taking all losses, we're not going to play that game anymore. It's almost like a survival mechanism. If I'm losing, eventually part of me is going to die off. So you adapt and you move on to another strategy or another game altogether. You look for a new source of food. I mean, it's all tied into our survival mechanism. So please, guys, please understand that. I'm going to read this next point and we're going to let Rico jump off because he has to be off in about 10 minutes. So if things do become heated, devolve into shouting, name calling, or blame, take a walk. Allow space between topics and even conversations. Also, keep some emotional distance from the conversation can help. Again, this is another tool. Write down the points that you want to make to keep from allowing your emotions to derail the conversation. So sometimes writing the points that you want to make, instead of trying to speak them all the time, sit back. When you're writing it, it takes the emotional edge off. You're by yourself, you're writing your points, and you can see them and refine your words. You can see when you're writing trigger words. You can see where you're doing things that are like blaming mechanisms. So, okay, I got the feedback coming. I'm not sure why the feedback is coming in and out. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So I'm not sure about the feedback. Got derailed, but what do you think about that, Rico? I'm going to let you jump in first.
Well, as far as the stepping back, I think the stepping back writing, which is something I've never done. I've never been much of a journaler. I think that's an awesome mechanism so that you can. I definitely believe in sometimes certain conversations. I do effectively do that. Sometimes me and my wife, we get a little heated, and she knows. Usually, I used to always say this saying, and it's true. I would always tell my wife, and it's kind of weird. I was like, don't worry about me when I'm arguing or complaining. Worry about me when I stop. And that's the one thing that's kind of weird because that's a tale for me with my wife. When she's on my tail about something, because I know she's invested. And I don't mean like it's one thing like, but when a person just stops, that's a sign of, okay, they just separated from you altogether. They separated from being invested, and that's usually the precursor to the end of something. That's when I always say, your ass really better worry. So if I know my wife occasionally she gets on me about drinking, right? When she stops and flat out stops, I'm scared because I know when she's talking to me about it, it's because she loves me and she cares. It sometimes gets difficult to want to hear, but I know it. That's why I don't voraciously fight back against some of the things that she complains to me about because I know she's speaking to me from a good space. So I'll push back. Well, I'm an adult. I don't want to be just that whatever. But I don't bite her head off for telling me something that I know I'm doing wrong, that I know I'm doing and it's wrong. When she's like, do you have to drink every day? No, I don't have to, and I shouldn't. But I don't sit there and bite her head off for saying, oh, I'm a grown man, I can do what I want. I love that there's someone that's invested in me. And when it really annoys me, I just walk away. That's just like, okay, I'm just going to shut down. I'm not going to talk about this conversation. And I'll try to come back to it at a different space and time. And I'll typically deflect and bring up her shopping habits. You know what I'm saying? Just anything to get her, you shop too much, right? Be petty, right? But it is, you have to. You can't do all that bickering and fighting. Being overly vocal is it's creating, you have to walk away from it. And I know when I do walk away from it, sometimes I might go for a ride on my motorcycle and clear my head. It makes me think about, I don't write it, but I write it in my head. That's basically it. And it's the best way to communicate, because especially with someone you love, you don't want to sit there and say something worse. So that's my biggest fear. It's not, if I don't shut up, something worse will come out, and I'm done. And I just want to say, folks, I'm sorry I missed out. If you missed on the Valentine's Day thing, but of course I had a Valentine, and my Valentine wasn't R'Shaun. So I was out with my wife, and I will be back on our Mondays show without fail. I'm gonna have to drop here in a few minutes for a birthday here on the island, but I wouldn't miss the brother for Wednesday or any of this. This will be the last time I'll be slacking like this. But
all right,
always,
Rico, hold on. Real quick, we're gonna give you the floor for your last 5 minutes. Rico gets the floor. Say whatever you want to say. Talk about what you're doing, who's with you, the DR. Say whatever you want to say. You got the floor, sir.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm over here in the DR on vacation. At a home. It's not a flex. I'm old. This is a retirement home where they're gonna put me in my depends pretty soon. But I'm over here. I'm over here actually with my son. Two of his friends, my wife, and we've just been out. I got out of the cold of Washington, and I'm over here. We over here sweating in the house. It's 85, 90 degrees all day, every day. In fact, we sweating indoors. And we about to go down to and get litty at the mixology bar and turn up like they always do. It's a great time. But again, like I said, I feel bad about missing R'Shaun's wonderful love letters to Black women that he did Monday. And that's a space where me and R'Shaun, we wanted to build that space there on our Monday show. And that's what we try to do every time we come over here to Knowledge and Relationship, to try to speak positivity into our community, and especially the Black women. Because that's one thing R'Shaun was always adamant to me about. He said, I will not speak bad about Black women. Not that I was encouraging that. I was just at some point saying, hey, so I don't want nobody to think, oh, you want something? No, I just wanted to talk about, topics and to try to balance it. And he agrees that some of our issues are balanced, but that brother rocks for y'all. And I've been accused of white knight. He's super simp. Call us whatever you want. But we stand up for Black men too, because as you see, we have young Mr. J. Takashi, Marcus Rodriguez, and men of color. So we've had just as many men come, and we talk to them, we relate to them. Like I said, I've always learned from them. So it's not even a male or female thing, but with a lot of the negativity out there in those YouTube streets, we wanted to come to this channel and our channel and talk about other things and better things. And again, I hope that my voice continues to push out more stuff. And like I said, whatever we're doing right, let us know what we're doing right. Whatever we're doing wrong, let us know what we're doing wrong. This is not our space. This is your space. We just been blessed to be given an opportunity to host it. So I will not go on and on and on. I wanted to say that. And thanks to all of you guys who've taken time out of your day to come here and sit with us. And hopefully we continue to grow this thing authentically, organically, and in a real serious and positive way. And with that, I will bid you guys adieu just for tonight. Look for us Monday. R'Shaun, you're in capable hands. Thank you, brother. Thank you,
Thank you, Rico. Enjoy it.
Have a good day.
Tell everybody say hello.
Definitely. I'll send you some pictures shortly.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, Jay, just me and you. I definitely appreciate you rocking out with me. I got 3 sections left. They'll all be pretty brief, so we gotta just land on those for about 10 minutes each, and then close out and we'll be done. Okay. And it might not even last 10 minutes. But let me just shout out who just stepped in the chat really quickly. We got Uncut with Daryl Long. Peace, everyone.
Daryl Long.
Darrell, appreciate you, brother. And Talk Hell, ladies, let's chat. So thank you for stopping by. Definitely appreciate you. R'Shaun M3, what's good, family? Yeah, we about to bring our boy Truth up here. So everything's good, bro. Everything's real good. So I hope everything's good with you and the fam too. Yeah, young lady that you're raising. So definitely appreciate you being out here. And Marcus Rodriguez. I think we already mentioned Marcus, our brother. Definitely. Thank you, all right, real quick, Truth. Thank you for stepping up to the stage. What you got going on, brother? You muted.
Yeah. How you doing, bro? Good evening.
Doing good. How you feeling?
JT, I'm doing well, sir.
How you doing, sir?
What you got for us on the topic, or you just want to jump in on this next point?
So what was the because I just tuned in. I mean, I had y'all up here, but I forgot that y'all was coming on a little early.
Oh, it's all good. Let me go ahead and read this next point. You can jump in from there.
Okay, bet.
All right. So when we're talking about communication, how you say a thing is often just as important as what you say. So when sharing a concern, and this is another tool, we're talking about tools, things to develop yourself so that you're not doing so many things that trigger other people or trigger yourself. So when sharing a concern, begin your sentence with I. So for example, I feel hurt when you don't tell me you'll be late. So like when you say that sentence instead of you never tell me, you're always late, you never let me know, it feels very accusatory. It feels like an attack. But sometimes if you couch it in yourself, hey, I feel hurt, or I'm worried when I don't know where you are, it lands softer. So again, that's just a soft communication skill to help when you're in these tense communications. Let me see. So with that sentence format, we show that we are taking responsibility for our own emotion rather than blaming our partner. The alternative sentence, like you never tell me when you're going to be late, will often cause a partner to become defensive. And of course in communication, you really don't want the person to become defensive, because that blocks the actual communication. What you're actually trying to convey is that you have a concern. But what comes across is that the other person is wrong, wrong, wrong. So again, people shut down, the lines of dialogue close. So that was that next section. We're going to start with Truth as the guest. What do you think about that point and how people communicate? Is that true? Do you think we need to do better? Like whatever you want to say. You got the floor right now. I'm going to put up a 3-minute timer.
All right, bet. Yes, in general, communication is very important, especially when we're talking in terms of intent. And, you know, that's the beginning word. I mean, yeah, the beginning word of intentional. And I speak highly about being intentional on things that you do. Be careful with the words that you use, because sometimes the word itself can throw the whole sentence off. A lot of people, when I'm communicating with them, I have to constantly remind them to actually listen to the whole sentence before you respond, because a lot of times they will highlight a word that they don't like instead of understanding the whole entire sentence. And they'll think the word that they don't like, which hits their mind, and they be like, oh, I don't like that word. They think that's the topic, and it has nothing to do with it. So it has nothing to do, that's not the subject of the sentence. It's just like, you know, a conjunction. It's just something to lead into it. I use that as a reference point to say that, let's say, all right, trying to think the right example. You spoke about putting yourself in it like I guess that's a way that you can, you know, head off to keep it from going into a negative part of communication if you present yourself first. Because again, a lot of people tend to think when you're having conversations, it automatically is about them. So I kind of agree with that. Actually, that is something that I'm probably going to take in and be more assertive with, is saying I. When it comes to feeling about a particular situation, I usually don't put the feel, I feel, because I understand feelings change constantly. And usually when I'm speaking, I want people to understand that I'm coming from a place of, you know, purpose. And again, the intent part. We're intentionally having this conversation, and it's purposeful. So whatever I'm saying, I want people to know that I mean it. You get where I'm coming from? Pretty much that's how I see that part.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. What I wanted to say was I understand what you're talking about, the I feel, and that you can use you can modify that. It doesn't have to be I feel, because people do have that thing about feelings. You can say I think, or I believe, or, you know, I understand that, you know, I mean, you can modify the sentence however it flows best for you, so that you're not just putting the onus on the other person to take care of the way you think and feel. Like, this is how I think and feel, and I want you to respond to how I think and feel, as opposed to you're doing something wrong and you need to fix it. Like, it comes across differently. It lands differently the way you phrase it. So that's what I meant by that. But go ahead, Jay. Jump in real quick.
Right. No. Go ahead. Oh, no, I think Truth wanted to say something.
Yeah, I wanted to respond. It wasn't so much I was taking it out. I was saying that Because again, if I say I feel something like that, then it can change like tomorrow. You feel what I'm saying? That's all I was saying.
All right, R'Shaun, I want you to repeat it. Repeat the actual question again. Because I was listening to the brother, and I was trying to see what.
Got you. Yeah, and it wasn't an actual question, just a point talking about the I statements, using I statements. That's what they're called. So if you Google like using I statements, there's like literature on that for anybody that's out there using I statements, because it switches it. So like saying, I think that when you don't tell me where you're like Jay, I think when you don't call me to let me know where you are, I get concerned, and I think it would be easy for you to send me a text to let me know when you're on your way. You know what I'm saying? So it lands differently. Then I'm like, Jay, why didn't you hit me up? Where were you? You know what I'm saying? It just hits different.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking. Okay. You give me the flow. I got it. I definitely got what you mean right now. Okay. So basically, it would be something like this. So the tone and flow of what you say has an impact. It always does. I mean, I don't think anybody here could disagree with that. So as I told Marcus, like, yo, get your way up here now. I'm like, bro, that's like very aggressive. What are you doing? That's a little disrespectful and aggressive, overly aggressive. They're the same if a woman come up here like, yo, get your way over here now. I'm like, that's disrespectful and a lack of just a lack of courtesy is what it is. So, I'm going to use me as an example. So why not do it? I put myself on chopping block. I would say that if I say, I think that you should do better in this, that's me actually trying to help you improve on something. Now, if I say, well, you better do this or this will happen, it kind of comes off a little bias and how it sounds. A little, I would say not archaic. I would say that comes off a little aggressive, but not to the extent of like just disrespectful. It's just more so me seem like I'm trying to manipulate you when I say that, like manipulate your choice. So you have to understand your words and the tone of it has a lot of meaning to it, but also that can also come, like I said, because how it comes across as if like you're just trying to be mean. Hence when I say I'm very direct. I am very direct what I say, but the thing is, I'm not coming off at you like I'm trying to talk down to you. I come off across differently in a different tone, a very, very polite, a very mellow tone, so that nobody feels offended. So that's how I do. But all in all, when you use key phrases like I and we, sometimes, like I said, it has a difference on how the outcome of the phrasing will be. So, always keep that in your mind whenever you're utilizing grammar, because that is a lost art nowadays.
Definitely. How you say something does, it totally flips the conversation around. So a lot of people are not aware of when they're using accusatory words and tones, like blaming, like borrow Kevin Samuel's sign language. A lot of people aren't even aware when they're using shame, insults, guilt, or the need to be right. But there's also I can't even think of the other word I was getting ready to use. But it's not just inflammatory words. Like words, yeah. So words that just set people off. Like Jay wasn't home on time. Probably out there cheating. Okay,
yeah, that's my parents. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as soon as you you out there doing something fun. Whatever it is, everybody has different triggers. There are some that are based in color, that are based in gender, that are based personally, things that are personal to you. And if you know what those are, it's important not to step on those landmines. So
I agree with you, R'Shaun. You can go to the next topic, but I do want to say this real quick. Like, if people have to understand, whenever we're having conversations, you got to know the tone of what you're saying. Now, like I said, R'Shaun may have a more gentler. No offense to you, R'Shaun, it's like more of a compliment. He might have a little bit of a gentler tone than I do. I might have more like a neutral tone, so you can't tell where it goes. But you have to be really transparent and understand. Like I would say, just like I said, turn off your brain whenever you're trying to have a conversation with somebody. And here's what I mean by that: just listen to what they're saying, and you're hearing the tone of how they're speaking it to you, and you don't feel angry, triggered. Then just really hear what they're saying, and then you respond in kindness with the same tone if you can. To your best of your ability. But that's all I got to say.
Definitely wanted to shout out Mrs. Mary real quick. Mrs. Mary, thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you for showing up. Go ahead, True.
Yeah, I wanted to say, the tone part, that's, my father's words say a soft answer turns away wrath. Now, a lot of people think that means, volume of tone. It means a plethora of different things. It can be volume tone. It could be the way it's presented in the environment that it's presented in. It depends on the context of of the actual conversation. You see what I'm saying? So for me, like with me, my voice, I'm very assertive. I'm very direct. And a lot of people aren't used to directness and assertive, where I'm going in a certain direction because I want you to understand where I'm coming from. A lot of people leave where it's like, it's questionary, where I have to ask questions for them to actually get to their point. You get what I'm saying? Versus me, they take the direct and the assertive position as in, oh, wow, look at his tone or whatever. No, this is how I speak. This is how I am as a man. You know what I'm saying? This is part of my persona. This is who I am. So that way it won't be a question, oh, that's what he say, and that's actually what he actually meant. It wasn't saying, oh, you said this, but did you actually mean it that way? No, I said exactly what I said, and you could take it to the bank. Communication is very important to me because that's the way you get to know people, you understand them, and also that's to me the fundamentals of the relationship.
Definitely. It is a building block of every communication is the building block of every relationship. Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul. Proverbs 16:24. Quantum definitely appreciate those references. And she stepped on my next section. Listening.
That's right, Quantum.
Yeah, Quantum be on it. I love Quantum. Learning to separate the signal from the noise is an important piece to human relations. We are simultaneously expressing thought and feeling, both real and perceived. Making sure you understand will make sure the other person at least feels heard and understood, which I think somebody uses the acronym LOVE. Listen, understand, validate, I think might be the acronym. But oftentimes during arguments or disagreements, we focus on getting our own point across rather than listening to our partner before responding to your partner or whoever it is. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It's just whoever's in that communication dance with you. Restate what they have said to you in your own words. Continue this process until your partner agrees that you understand. Next, share your side after you've been understood. Your partner should reflect back your ideas in their own words until they too understand. Using this technique or tool will help both individuals not only feel listened to and understood, they can accept some things, even in disagreement. They can accept what's been said, even in disagreement. That's a tool that helps. And we have someone stepping to the stage really quickly. We have Queen Forever 2K. Queen Forever 2K, how you doing?
I'm good. I had to pop in. Y'all getting too early for me now.
Hey, y'all be too late for us.
I gotta show love.
Hey, definitely appreciate you. Just real quick, the Beta Bell podcast. Damn late to the plug. Ha ha, Rico Young gone. Yeah, he had to leave early. He had a birthday party to attend in the Dominican Republic, so he is gone. But thank you for being here. We definitely appreciate you. Queen, what do you have on the communication topic? I don't know how much you've heard, but step in wherever you are.
Not a lot. I just think it's key, like we got to stop playing like we mind readers, If I could read your mind, I am in the wrong field. So, I am not a psychic. I cannot read your mind. I don't know what you're thinking, and nor should I try to play like I do. And I think, but I think one thing I've learned is that you got to give somebody the space to want to communicate, meaning that just because I think we need to talk about something right away, or if I know you're feeling something, I need to give you the space to come to me when you feel comfortable to say, hey, I was feeling a lot about this. And not get mad and say, well, why you didn't talk to me about that earlier? Why you lying to tell me you was okay? But to really make the space safe, and not feel like, oh, is there something wrong with me because they don't want to tell me? But no, it's just they're just not ready to talk, or they don't know what they're feeling. So, and being okay with that.
Definitely, Queen. Hey, Truth, and then Jay, we're gonna bring you in for throw up a 2-minute timer. Truth on listening, active listening, listening to the person you're speaking to, and not looking to respond to be right. What are your opinions on like actually listening as part of the conversation and communication?
This is funny. What's one of my slogans that go around? Anybody that has ever heard me speak, from Lapeef, Humeku Show to what's the guy, Chef Show, and so on, I always speak about this. Please actually listen to what I'm saying, not the thoughts that you have created in your head. Please actually listen, not here to respond. This is a big, this is a, like, I guess one of my pet peeves, something that it aggravates me when people create instead of actually taking what I said. That's why I come to, be very direct. That's why I am assertive. So it won't be no question. It won't be no misunderstanding. This is exactly what I said. And that's what I meant. And that's what should be taken to the bank. Truth actually said that. That's what he meant. That's what he represents. That's what I should take him as. So yes, this is I think it's not a lost art. I think people really struggle with this, of actually listening. And it needs to be practiced. It comes with patience. It comes with also not thinking you are right all the time. Because most people respond quickly because they're not even trying to hear or understand you. They just want to be heard.
Yeah, they already got the answers. Go ahead, Jay, real quick. Gonna get you plugged in. What you think?
All right. The biggest, my whole thing is like, to this day, even Truth just spoke a little bit of what I was going to say. So I really love and appreciate his little wisdom that he put in there, because I do agree. More often than not, if you like to hear yourself talk, then no one's ever going to want to be in a conversation with you, because that comes as very narcissistic and very condescending, as if, like I said, you have to. It's the same thing as if whoever is the loudest in the room has the best in the room, when that is very falsified, 100% falsified. So you cannot claim to come into a conversation with a loud voice or just feel the need to hear yourself talk a lot. Otherwise, you, like I said, you come off as a narcissist, and also nobody will want to communicate with you because you're not good. You're not a good person to exchange pleasant conversations with. So you need to understand that, like I said, don't listen to somebody said it best. I think Princess K said it best. Listen to hear, not listen to retaliate. If you, like I said, if you can do that, to actually hear someone, to hear what they're saying, then, like I said, that's more beneficial to the actual conversation at all. And that's a more of a healthy conversation. There have been times when I've had conversations with my friends, at least my brothers in this case, where we don't talk past each other. We talk at each other. We actually hear each other on everything we have to say. And then we contribute even better conversation, because the one was willing to hear the other person, to hear what they had to say, while the other sat back and listened, took in the information. And once they got done giving the information to them, they would tell it with the information that was received, but also what they wanted to say, without losing their cool and just being obnoxious about it. But that's all I have to say.
Definitely appreciate all of that, Jay. I mean, y'all came up with great perspective. I don't think I need to say anything else on that piece. But we are out down to the last section. It is easy to miss out on a resolution, arguing over minor details. Disagreement is a normal part of any relationship. If it becomes clear that you and someone will not agree, focus on a resolution instead. Try to find a compromise that benefits both individuals. Ask yourself if this disagreement really matters to your relationship and let yourself move on if not. Don't allow misdirection to derail the mission. If new problems are brought up, because, oh, that's a big one. If new problems are brought up in one miscommunication or argument, write them down and make them a separate thing to be addressed another time. Oh, we definitely got to talk about that because I know this is a big thing. Me and Queen are going at it because I ain't take out the trash. Like Rico talked about it, tit for tatting. Rico talked about it. You on me about the way I'm drinking, and I'm like, but you shop too much. Man, that is something a lot of people do, and we really need to couch that. If you have something, don't sit on it to wait to use in an argument. Speak on it, and if somebody does bring up something second in the argument, couch it. Like, talk about what we're here for. Me and Jay having a disagreement about the microphone. I borrowed his microphone. Let's talk about that. I can't derail the conversation talking about, well, he spilled something in my car. That's not cool. We can talk about that. We can talk about that, but we'll talk about that later. Let's hash this out first. But that's a big thing. A lot of us, I've noticed that's a big part of online miscommunication, real life miscommunication. There's one disagreement already on the table, but we want to throw other ones out there to defend our point or to attack. But we're going to start with Queen Forever. What do you think about coming to a resolution and not adding new fuel to the fire? Really quickly, I want to shout out DJ Eddie King. DJ Eddie King. Thank you for being here, brother. Definitely appreciate you. Go ahead, Queen. We're going to give you 4 minutes to rock.
I think you just got to be willing to stay in the moment, and not I don't think it's necessarily adding fuel to the fire. Well, it is, but I think it's more so I'm going to get him. I'm going to try to get him, or I'm out argue him, or out argue her. And I think that's just it's a waste of energy, but I think just, like you said, stick to what's in the moment. Like, I have a tendency to do that because I let my emotions rule me sometimes. And I go, well, you did. And it was like, what are you talking about? We're not talking about what happened last week. We're not talking about what happened yesterday. We're not even talking about what happened 20 minutes ago. We're talking about what just happened. Why do you always do that? And I'm like, but because I don't really have a comeback. So I got to add stuff to have my comeback and to justify it, which really makes no sense. Like, why do I need to do that? Why do I need to justify why I'm arguing about something which I'm really wrong in the long run about it anyway? So I think it's a pride thing. I know it's for me, it's a pride thing. Like, I just want to be right. I don't like losing arguments. So I fight dirty. So I try not to do it at all.
It's smart to know yourself.
Well, that took years of being told that, So yeah, I think it's important to stay in the moment. And, when you truly say that you're over something, oh, I'm sorry, okay, I forgive you, you need to really mean it. And if you don't, you need to do the self-evaluation as to why and not put it on that person. That's the only reason why we bring stuff up, Even if it looks the same, it's still not the same. The chicken you made yesterday, I don't care if it's fried in the same grease. It's still not the same chicken. Let it go.
Nah, that is absolute facts. Real quick, I'm gonna throw another 2 minutes. Really quick, you said it took a long time to get to that point where you understand that part of yourself that just wants to win the argument. Can you give some examples of what kind of work it took, like to benefit anybody that might hear? What steps it took so that they might be able to take those steps too, if they're in that same position of always wanting to win and combat?
I think, the first thing is, you got to be willing to listen. You got to be willing to listen. You got to be willing to hear. You got to be willing to listen. 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 Well, I think it showed me in my friendships or relationships how destructive it was to the other person and to what we were building, or friendship, whatever, you know, my homegirls, my husband, whatever. And I think I didn't really understand it until I guess I think there was a married couple, one very close to the wife. She overheard, like we were there, and she overheard me going back and forth. And she was like, she checked me and you need to slow down. So I think that was my aha moment. Like, I had an older married woman check me and go, you know, you're very destructive in how you argue, and it's not okay. And I was like, what? Why are you taking this out? And she was like, nope, there you go again, you know? And then I think there was one situation where we were going back and forth via text. And the person said, I don't want to talk about that. Right. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then like I text whatever. And then I said, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, why did they do this? Why did they act like this? And she said, you totally disrespected them. They told you they didn't want to talk about that. You said, okay. And then you made them talk about it. Like you can't do that. That's not okay. So yeah, so it was a lot of I got checked by a lot of elder women married. Like I was getting checked all the time, to the point where I would come in the room and I hear somebody on my phone, and is my husband called somebody and told on me, and they're like, hey, and I'm like, oh wow. So what are you doing today? Why are you acting like that? You know, but it was good. I felt grateful to have those type of relationships. Oh yeah.
Nah, that's deep. I mean, but yeah. We need those people to hold a mirror up to ourselves, because that's something like a concept. Everybody might not have heard this, but it's hard for us to see ourselves. Like, the only person that you'll never see in truth, like, is yourself. You can only see a reflection of yourself. You'll never actually see yourself the same way other people see you, because they can walk all around you. They can see you naturally in your body.
Yeah.
They can see your entire body, where you have a blind spot in that. You'll never be able to look upon your full self with your own eyes. You can only look through a reflection. So I mean, that the same thing goes with our mental. Other people have a better vantage point to see how we show up in the world. So it's good to allow other people to speak and to share with us how we show up from an outsider perspective. I just want to give a quick shout out to Sir Hale Speaks, who said, I am the hardest working man in YouTube. Not a chance. If I'm the hardest working man in YouTube, then Sir Hale Speaks is the hardest working man in the universe. Because that man puts out content, I mean, back to back to back to back, hour-long streams, chopped up content. I don't know where he finds the time. So definitely appreciate you, sir. I want to get to truth. We're going to give you 4 minutes. This is the last topic. We're going to let you get 4 minutes to rock out.
All right. I wanted to say something about what you said last time, because I mean, what you just said. Yeah, because I got kind of a little bit of a pushback. As far as when it comes to, it depends on the person. Like for me, that's one thing that I spoke about is, before you can hold somebody accountable, you have to hold yourself accountable. So we've actually spoken personally about this. You know, what I do when I wake up is have a daily assessment with myself. Is I do, like you said, mirror up. I mirror up, I evaluate where I come from, what I did yesterday, what I'm trying to do today, and who I'm trying to become. My prayers over the last 10 years has actually been, Father, help me to become a better man than I was yesterday, a great man today, and continue to grow into the man that I'm becoming. Those are my actual prayers. So for me, the best way to resolve problems within yourself, people can speak and they can tell you, but the only person that's going to be able to deal with those problems is you. And when you can be real with yourself, that's when you can eliminate a lot of those problems. And that's one thing, I was always my harshest critic. you know, a lot of people have came to me and said, you know, you're too hard on yourself. You know, but that's how I've always been. I've always put pressure on myself. I've always put like a heavier burden or load or a position that I have to actually meet to get there. You feel what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on that now to get to the topic at hand. You hitting some WMDs today, bro. These are much needed topics. Ephesians 4:6 says, "Be angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down before your wrath." You know, in relationships and predominantly marriage relationships, a lot of married couples need to learn this art of getting to the root of the problem and eliminate it before you go to sleep, because tomorrow is a new day. My father also says, what is it? Weeping may endure for a minute, but joy cometh in the morning. We have to eliminate the problem. Now, a lot of people say, okay, well, let them win the argument. No, we need to eliminate the problem and find out what's the right way to deal with it, or that problem is going to continue to linger. Even if you don't argue that day, it will show back up because it's actually a problem. So it's actually, you need to take time, be patient, listen to each other, deal with it, and eliminate it. Now, once it's dealt with and you come to a resolution, actually resolve it, see where everyone's problem is. Even it doesn't matter how long it takes. Set out that time that day to get rid of it, because later on down the road, someone's going to bring it up because it's an actual cut there. And if you don't deal with that cut and let it heal, because after you resolve it, it has to heal. So if you don't even do the process of stitching that thing up, we already know with something that when a cut is so big and stitched up and you let it heal, how ugly it looks. It's going to be right there, and sometimes it can re-expose itself. So we need to do the right assessment of the problem, deal with the problem, resolve it. And we need to do what's the best course of action of not whether the husband is right or the wife is right, not whether someone else is right, but what is the right thing to do for both parties. What would each one do if they was on the opposite side? Focus on righteousness.
Definitely truth. Yeah, truth bomb. All right, Jay. We're going to get you in here with 4 minutes. Since, again, this is the last topic, so you get to close us out on the communication and the, conflict resolution. Let's go, brother.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I think truth hit everything on the head. I don't know what more I can actually add to that. The only thing I can actually say, like, I'm actually stumped right now. The only thing I can maybe add, let me like just this short little thing is that, there's, trust me, although if you don't treat like a competition, then that's the start of everything. The really way for you to actually progress. If you don't treat like a competition and you're willing to buckle down and actually hear what the other has to say, and not just retaliate and just, combat, be ratchet, be nonsensical, be a child, and just hear what's being said, then, like I said, you will have, like I said, you will have made steps. No, will have taken a correct path in order to not make the same mistakes again that you've done before. Like I said, you can be an eloquent speaker or an eloquent listener. It's just a matter of what you're trying to drive your pride on. And Truth actually spoke a little bit like me. Like, yes, I am very hard on myself. Though I'm the only person that punishes me is me, to be honest. And the reason why I do it to myself as a way of it's a way of like reinforcing the discipline in order for me to buckle down, but always try to keep true to who I am. To never never lose any part of me, even if I may get 6 figures one day, whatever. I always want to keep that level of self-control, but the ability to communicate well with others. Never let it interfere with how I speak with you, how I interact with you, and how I progress through life. Oh, sorry about that stupid phone. But like I said, it's really that thing that you have to do in order to like really be an all-around good person more often than not. Like I said, because good conversation. Listen. A wise man once said, "A man builds bridges, and a fool who seeks misfortune will always be a person that fails." So you always got to be careful of those things whenever you're trying to progress in life. Like I said, you want to be the best version of yourself, but also you want to be able to, take advice from, old school cats that actually know who have been where you're at. The difference is with them, you can take some knowledge from them. So never neglect the OGs. Never, like I said, never neglect the people who are in your circle who find you to be one of the most important people to them. Stay true to your character, and like I said, you'll be just fine. Like I said, you'll be fine as long as you just bask in what you've been doing previously. Like I said, if it's been working for you, why change it? I'm going to say that, R'Shaun. If it's been working for you, why change it? The way you speak, don't change. You learn as you go on. It improves as you go on. I'm still learning by talking to all you cats, for the very first time online. Even though I'm good talking to people face to face, online it's a whole different thing for me. So I've gotten a lot better at it. So, like I said, it may not operate the same way as I do face to face with somebody, as opposed from speaking to you on the phone, which I'm getting better at communicating on the phone, by the way, guys. It's a little bit better. But definitely, like I said, just do the work, and like I said, the results will show. It will show us, the people that you're talking to, how much you've changed and the steps you've taken necessary to be the best and brightest version of yourself. But that's all I have to say. Truth, you hit everything on the head.
Yeah, Truth be coming through with his name. Truth is never favored. He comes through with the truth all the time. So definitely appreciate everybody's perspective. Just real quick on the just to wrap it up, sum it up. Everybody has spoken about this. There is no one true way. Like, communication styles are going to vary from person to person, and even the practical steps I've given today are general guidelines. Because, like Candid Ann said, and thank you for being here, Candid Ann, I definitely appreciate you. When she said she's okay with going to bed angry. So I might have said, to give it some time, give it some space to let everybody cool down. That may work for some people, but some people, their mind works differently. I think type A personalities or something, they dwell on it and ruminate, and it causes stress and anxiety. Those people, it may be better for them and their mental health to get to it more immediately. But you have to know who you are. Like the very first topic was identity. You have to know who you are, and you have to know who you're talking to for the communication to work properly, because you need to know what each other's needs are. You have to know your needs and the other person that you're trying to talk to. These things are definitely important principles to work on. Like Jay said, you work on them, you grow over time. But like, I don't want to lock anybody in. The way you do things today won't be the way you do them in 10 years or 20 years. You may find a better way, or you may have changed so much that you'll do things differently because it suits yourself at that point. So don't think the way you've always done it is the way you always will have to do it. There is no one way, and it will change person to person. I think everybody's mentioned something in that effect. These are all just general principles. They work generally, but sometimes you're having a specific conversation at a specific time with a specific person that takes a specific skill set. So that's also something you have to address. But again, that was our talk on critical communication. We definitely see so much in this space that has shown us that we're lacking some of these skills, and we need to go back to basics to reevaluate the levels of communication. A lot of times people say it's not that complicated, but as we've shown tonight, there's a lot of layers to human communication, and that's just the communication piece. That's not even talking about everything that goes into a man or a woman. Their gender roles, their cultural norms, their societal norms. I mean, there's so much layers and complexity to a person. We try to oversimplify sometimes, and that's why we have so much friction, because you should just know what I'm thinking. You should just know what I'm saying. But that's not the way the world works. So we're going to get to know ourselves. And after we get to know ourselves, we're going to get to know each other easier and better. So that's my TED Talk. We're going to give everybody 30 seconds to give their closing shout out, socials, all that good stuff, starting with the Queen. All hail the Queen.
Hi, guys. You can follow me on Facebook. Instagram at QueenFeather2K and Knowledge and Relationships platform. Thank you for the topic. Thank you for great content. And I love the way you and Rico manage your stream. Make sure everyone's respectable, and you keep it on topic and you keep it on point. So have a great day, you guys, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. Truth, if you could give us your info, sir.
Yes, you can find me on Truth is Never Favorite Podcast here on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Tap in with me. As always, people, thank you for the conversation. Sean, Jay, Miss Queen, appreciate the space from Knowledge and Relationships. Mario and Mr. Best in the World. Appreciate this conversation in general. Love and peace to everyone.
Love and respect, Truth. All right, Jay Takashi, give us your info, sir, where we can find you.
My bad, guys. I always forget this freaking thing, man. Whenever this thing, I always touch this thing by accident. So, like I said, I'm getting better at that. I apologize. No, but all in all, thanks for having me, R'Shaun, and my man Rico. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you guys just letting me on, just be here to contribute to the conversation, but also to the topics that need to be spoken about, because I think that's how we progress as people, but also how we can understand one another. Just simply what the name of the title of the stream is: communication. Thank you. My favorite word. But I will say this, guys. You guys can see me on, my channel, Jay Takachi, and also you can reach me at IG at jjohnson3242. If you guys have any questions or want to be a part of the topic sections that we have, everybody's welcome there, ladies included. I would like to have some of you ladies on too as well, so don't feel shy or bashful. Trust me, nobody will ever stop police you on my place. That's my motto. No one stop police over there. Speak your mind, speak your wisdom, and let's have a great conversation. All in all, peace out.
All right, everybody, we are about to head out of here. Definitely respect to everybody that came through, everybody in the chat that stopped by, spread a good word. I appreciate all the participation. We had the questions from Brother Clarence and Dominique and others. So it's all love from me. I hope you guys appreciate the content. I definitely appreciate your feedback and support. But we are getting ready to head out. So everybody, check us out next week, Knowledge and Relationships. There is a stream in about 45 minutes. I can't remember the topic. M3 had put it in earlier. But please come back in 45 minutes time to this very channel, Knowledge and Relationships, for another excellent conversation with the crew. Not with me and Rico, but with Knowledge and Relationships. What was that, Queen?
It's an interview.
It's an interview.
Yeah, I forgot the girl's name.
Well, there will be an excellent young... I think, is it a professional wrestler?
Huh?
Was it a professional wrestler?
I think so.
Okay, so please, live talk with Southern Belle. Live talk with Southern Belle. Yes, so everybody, 45 minutes time. Please be back in your seats in this very same space to show support and love for the live talk with Southern Belle. M3 will probably be conducting this interview. Thank you all for your time, and I'm about to hit the outro. You all have a good night.